This podcast contains adults using adult language. You have been warned.
We're here.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
I didn't see you there. Hello, villains. And welcome to another episode of Team X, the safest form of birth control that there is on the market today. Side effects include severe congestion, regurgitation, defenestration, castration, emulation, severe headache, and an infestation of clowns. Do not take Team X if you're on any other medications or are considering ever getting pregnant at all in your natural life.
This is a problem.
I am St. Brian, your dungeon master for this evening. So let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. The dramatis personae tonight are starting to my right.
Hi. I'm horribly unprepared. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Bob the Ninja Goldfish. I'll be playing Corbin, your monk bard. And you may see me get up and walk away from the computer in the middle of RP at certain times today. But that's because
Total rage quit.
I am absolutely hurt my vocal cords and need to go continue plying myself with hot drinks. So,
Delicious hot drink.
yes, I also may not be doing Corbin's accent today.
I think that's perfectly acceptable.
So, but if it's anything like other games, I'll probably slip into it by accident. So, don't look at me in that tone of voice, clues. Speaking of which, clues and if I can go, who committed the murder last week?
That total
Excellent.
wait, shit, what was his name? I don't have my notes.
We actually did not play last week.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the two of you still couldn't close the case.
Well, the case hasn't been reopened.
It may be a cold case for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're holding
still
on to all the information so we could do a documentary a la The Staircase.
Alright, I'm gonna pass it below me to
The cleric.
that's your segue.
Yeah, I know. I thought you were gonna keep talking and then you didn't.
It's me.
Hi there. I'm Blind Cleric. I play Hugon Belander, human fighter, and I'm excited to be back after missing last week because of Gen Con. Gen Con was a lot of fun, but I missed this quite a bit. And then why don't you take it away, big man?
I'm assuming you mean me.
I mean, that's your
I
character's
hope you
name.
mean you.
I should have
hi,
said
I'd like to go-
Bitman. Bitman would have been much more funny because
Man.
of your Fire Ant experience.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm basically. So okay, I'll let everyone after that. I'm Viking Goat. I'll be playing Thunic, gentle trunk, nature domain cleric, and I am covered in fire ant stings. It's fantastic. Welcome to Florida.
IRL.
Very, very
mind
method.
you.
Oh,
Like
Yes.
not in game.
No, not in character. Oh, what happened?
What happened?
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Oh,
We're
okay,
talking.
well-
We're talking words.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Apparently,
and-
I've got some
Oh.
OBS scenes linked to keys on my keyboard now.
Oh no!
So we just
But,
randomly went to the break screen in the middle of introductions.
Well, that's okay.
that was
Oh,
strange.
we're still here.
Well, you're still here.
Anyway, lastly but not least, directly above me.
So with Brian's introduction, would this be a bad time to mention that I'm pregnant?
What?
Maybe.
I totally got all of you. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
I literally said yes. I wasn't
Yes,
got.
this would be a bad time.
I would warn you guys ahead of time if I was going to go through some kind of emotional like this. I promise.
No, you wouldn't.
That's true. I probably would.
Suddenly,
Yeah,
every
it's
NPC is just killed immediately by a laser. Like, oh god.
I I thought it'd be funny since with that introduction, it's like, it's only gonna prank mom. Yeah.
You got Brian pretty hardcore. Like,
Oh, shit.
what? That was like
What?
a wonder and like, oh fuck, maybe I've made a mistake.
No, I didn't make a mistake.
Wait a minute.
Bob's glowing. Anyways, I'm Clues. I'll be playing Dread My Gem Weaver. We're just gonna move on because I can't top the prank.
Bob's playing with the light to try and balance out this blue bollocks.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Do you have a sticky note that you they're like that big?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Alrighty.
So when we last left our heroes, they had put together a plan, an attempt to lure out the Shadow Archer, the one that was ostensibly responsible for releasing the mean locks, for attempting to annihilate some life in the administrative headquarters for the town. Seems like a generally all around not nice guy. So they had formulated,
Or gal.
or gal, or listen, gender fluid.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
the important point is that they're being a dick.
Yes,
And
they are,
get to die because of it.
but so they had the team had put together a plan in order to lure this person out of hiding, to identify who they potentially were. So now, as you folks who are watching at home can probably see, there is an addition onto our overlay this week. There are these coins. So what these coins are, these are what I'm calling the retcon coins. So as we go through with today's plan, because we're going to be starting a little on Media Ray, as we go forth with the plan, if the player would like to talk about how they had set something up beforehand, how they had set supplies in a certain place, hadn't gone and recruited someone, you could then go and use one of these coins to turn that in to say, okay, but before all this happened, I went and did this.
It's a scene-altering mechanic.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
So you could.
understand.
So we'll take a break from the scene. We'll do a little thing there. Roll. There might be some rolls involved, but you're not limited to using it for yourself. You could, if you want, donate that coin to someone else if you feel like it would be
I see.
helpful for them.
It's a way to take a trip in the Wayback Machine.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a short. So if you think of the show Leverage, there was always like that spot at the end when it was like, "Oh, we're down." No, we went back in time like a day ago. Oh, there we go. We're no longer blue. If you think about the show Leverage, there would be times where they would do flashbacks and be like, oh no, it reframes the scene because they had actually planned for this in advance.
This contingency has been thought of.
Exactly. Yeah. Where there was like a handoff of something earlier, where someone's pocket was picked earlier or something like that. So it's along those lines. So those are what the retcon coins will do.
I like it.
So, but like I said, the plan was that Hugon had gone and lured out Stensland Tomasi, a local halfling merchant.
Yes.
Who seemed to be housing Zedram Kai and his retinue at his manse in the western district of the town. And so Hugon had lured him out with an invitation to come discuss business, a business proposition with Acquisitions Incorporated at the Silvered Harrier, to which Master Tomasi had agreed to meet at 9 a.m. the following morning.
Yes.
So that is where we are going to lay our scene. So what we have is at the Silvered Harrier, it's actually it's that dead time in the morning where the breakfast crowd, the folks that are going to be working the day shift, first shift at the mine, have come in, ate their breakfast and left. The third shift, the people who might come in, they've already left and gone. So you kind of have that down period. If you've ever walked into a Starbucks like around 10 a.m., it could be pretty dead at that time of day. So that's kind of what it is. There actually is a fire lit in the hearth this morning because it is a chillier spring morning, not unseasonably chilly.
Mm-hmm.
But, some spring mornings just happen to be a little bit cooler than others. There is a gentle rain falling outside. In the distance, you can hear every now and again a peal of thunder. off in the distance. So not that there's a thunderstorm sitting directly over town, but somewhere over the Chondawood, you can see slate gray skies. You get that. There's that smell that you get from the rain, right? When it just smells
Wet
like
vegetation.
wet vegetation and dirt and earth, and it's actually a very spring-like smell.
Trent is very excited then.
So
There's lightning close by.
because maybe we can harness it.
Maybe. What is you talking about? Maybe. She's been at this shit for over 400 years.
Where's my metal stick? This time I will get struck.
I'm gonna capture you, you bastard. Just you wait.
You know that whole scenario.
Yeah.
So just to lay the scene, actually, of who now is in the Silvered Harrier, Stenzlin Tomasi is in the Silvered Harrier, and he was accompanied by Zedram Kai. They had come in and they're sitting at the table. Now, for this part, this would not cost you a retcon coin.
Mm-hmm.
Who is where? What was the plan? Where is everyone going to be for the purpose? Because remember, we had said the purposes was to determine who the Shadow Archer was by using this enchanted arrow, which basically had like a homing beacon set up on it, with the Faerunian equivalent of a heads-up display that would get brighter as it got closer to its target. So where would everyone be for this?
Hugon is obviously at the meeting table.
Okay.
I'm across the street.
Just hanging out because you've got the arrow.
I'm in my shop.
And she was overwatched through the window as we discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, because Rozzy's with him, probably still pissed off about the whole beer incident.
Yeah, probably. I think Hugon would also have like maybe some official documentation with him.
Okay.
Some like, hey, here's the actual forms, because I did talk to Bruce Willis about this.
You know his name now.
Oh, did you reveal it?
Yep.
Fine, Mr. Corbin Oakenthane.
As part of his.
Just Corbin.
No, you know Corbin.
Okay, not Oakenthane. Okay.
But
Yes.
Like, he's just. It's not that he's hiding Oakenthane. It's just that he just tends to not.
There's things there.
He doesn't append it to his name. Okay, that's fine. So Corbin it is. So yes, this discussion, I did need the forms, so I would have had to have gone to Corbin to acquire everything
to make it look
proper.
official.
Well, I want it to be official. I just didn't expect Zedram Kai to show up, so this is an aggravation.
In fact, I think I might be sat at the table with him.
Completely fair, because you are the legal representative in terms of the paperwork here.
Well, there's documents.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
how are you going to miss an opportunity?
Right?
There could be so many different documents. This could go so many different ways. This is like Choose Your Own Adventure, but the documentsy version, where it's like, oh, we're going to we're doing this. Oh, we got to go to Form 267. Oh, we're the other way. No. Form 151.
Oh, you died.
Too bad. What you got for us, Stonik? What you doing?
Stonik is sitting either at a table or near the bar, in such a way that the arrow can be hidden from plain sight.
Okay.
Because he's got.
You are a large man.
You can just have it like under your arm, and.
I mean, like I could hold it in front of me. I imagine.
Or like put it in your mouth, like a chew on
it. Just chewing on it.
Giant arrow sticking. Like a Razor Ramon style toothpick.
Like, sir, that's an arrow. Is it? Huh.
Have you seen the size of my teeth?
You are a giant Ken, so yes.
I have a few villagers stuck in here. Hang on.
But
canonically, I feel like the nut keeps getting bigger and bigger in our group.
Well, we keep feeding him.
It's already far too big to begin with, so.
I know.
You can never have too much Thunik.
Like, he's already the Andre the Giant version of a Furbolg.
That's okay.
Standard standard furbolgs are about the size of Andre the Giant,
Mhm.
and he's bigger than them. So
Yes, but he's also like a walking hug. So, you know, you really can't have too much.
He's French shaped.
He's French.
Drenmai, you are keeping an eye on the scene, so you were like watching them all come in.
Yeah,
You-
I can see him come
okay.
in, and then Rozzy's over there, so he's kind of like my speaker inside the room, so I can still kind of hear
You can
things.
still hear. Okay, so what you had seen is when they had walked up, when this group had walked up. So it was Zedram Kai and Stenzlin Tomasi, and it was Zedram Kai's usual, or a few of the people you had seen in his retinue, his group before. You had seen a human female out front, or excuse me, two human females, and two two men in like full plate armor, and the armor just is like it's like at every point of articulation there's like points coming off of it, like points and spikes, like off of the shoulders, like where the shoulder and where the pauldrons meet, you know, where the
They look like the new version of Shredder.
Along those lines.
This is their edgelord mode.
Yeah.
It's not a
But their
phase,
colors
Mom.
happen to be
Shut up! It's really useful. Yeah, okay.
What would
Sure,
a
George.
Faerunian version of Hot Topic be called, I wonder?
Anything made by the Drow ever?
The Underdark.
The Underdark.
I thought in the Perkins verse that the Drow were just French.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
French
that's
can be
possible.
angsty as well. You could be both French and angsty,
No.
Do they by chance?
or
they
more
happen to
nihilistic.
wear-
I'm going to
Yeah.
give a cigarette to this baby.
Right in its face.
You cannot stop me.
Would the group that I see walking over there by chance be all dressed in black with maybe edged in a little bit of yellow?
Not so much yellow, no. But the armor itself does appear to be lacquered in black.
Okay.
And so yeah, these two females. You've got these two males. One's looking a little bit older. One's an older, I'm going to say gentleman, with white hair, short cropped white beard. Most of them look like they're probably in their 20s or 30s. You do see there's another there's another human there who's just basically, from what you could see, he's wearing like a loose tunic, and he's got like almost like a thick leather cape kind of cloak looking thing hanging over him, but basically on his arms and everything from like the neck down, you can see, if you could see skin, there's like tattoos all over this guy, and they all just take up position outside of well, I almost said the drawn courtier, but no, the silvered the silvered harrier. You know,
They wouldn't by chance have a snake as a symbol on them. would
they do not. No, you do not see a
Okay,
snake.
damn. I'm sorry. Every time you say Zedram Kai, I think Cobra Kai. So I think
See,
Of
every
course.
time
They're
you say-
all-
see, you say that, but every time you say Zedram Kai to me, I'm thinking Zephram Cochrane.
yeah, I went Cobra Kai. I'm just waiting for like the bandana to go on and to just have some. Yeah.
And they're all snakes. Oh my god, they're like the worst.
Ooh, Yankee.
God damn it. God damn it.
So
Just
so
waiting.
the one with the tattoos, you can see he wanders around the corner and sits at one of the tables by Frug's by Frug's cart and orders some food there. The two that are in the armor take up positions, not necessarily like at the door, but they have sight. You know, they find like there's like, you know, because the Silver Harrier's got like tables outside, you know, for dining al fresco, so they take up like space. You know, they take up some spaces where they have a view of basically the door, the road, so that way they can kind of cover.
Right.
But, you know,
They're
but they
in a
look
defensive
relatively relaxed.
position to
Exactly.
monitor or prevent people from getting into this building.
Yeah, and they look relaxed, not relaxed like, oh, feet up, chill,
No.
I'm comfortable. It's more
They're
like,
at ease, though.
yeah, they're at ease. There's a certain
It's
as
a state
relaxed
of
as you've
readiness.
seen
Yeah.
like a wolf look relaxed.
Yeah. It's a state of readiness that does not imply inattention.
Exactly. So that's what you would see from the outside. You see Zedram Kai murmur a few words to to a few of them before he walks in, and and Stenslin Tomasi waits for him to these conversations to end, and then they enter into the Silvered Harrier. And so that's what you would have seen with everyone out front.
Okay.
So inside, Corbin and Hugon, would this been a case of you guys were already at the table and waiting for them to come join you? Is this where you stand up and like greet them? Like how would like your initial interaction go with them?
I was gonna ask this.
Okay.
Knowing I would talk to the people I know here in town and ask about the customs of the area. Like, is it customary for dukes and that to be introduced by their retinue? Is it custom to meet them at the door? Is it custom for them to come to you? Is it custom for like that kind of thing?
Being that Pinedale is what would be considered, I guess, an unincorporated territory. It's an independent, it doesn't really have any it doesn't have any connection to like the Lord's Alliance or any other really nation. It's had the opportunity to develop almost a culture of its own. And because it's a very, I don't know if this is the right term, a very genteel town, there's a the general rule of thumb is politeness because
Laid back.
yeah, it's laid back.
You could be polite is polite, right? But it's what constitutes polite. Is polite meeting a guest at the door? Is polite allowing a guest to let themselves into the room and join you at the table? Is polite meeting them outside and walking them in? Like,
I don't know that they would have. So this is you have a couple different scenarios playing out here. So you're not in your formal home, and that would probably be one set of customs, right? Where it's generally speaking, if you're having an important meeting, you're going to meet someone at the door to your home. So it's not that, but you do live here and it is an office. Now, if you were just saying, hey, let's go meet at the bar, it would probably just be, hey, you come in, you seat yourself, so, and then you have the added thing where you have, this merchant, but you also have this, for all intents and purposes, an outlander, someone, a lord who doesn't really have any, they can't lay claim to Pinedale and say, oh, I'm meeting the lord of the land. He's a visiting, he's a visiting noble. So you have seen, you have observed the usual, the Pinedalians, the Pine Danish, Pinedalians.
Pindanese?
Also, no.
We're gonna have to figure that out at some point. But for now, the Pinedalian.
alien is fine.
The Pinedalian, okay.
The
Pine Danish is what's available at Frug's.
Well, I was going to say I probably would have picked up like coffee and Danish.
Right.
Yeah, that would be
A tray.
It's a business meeting, right? So think about it. You're meeting someone at the local coffee shop, right? You're probably not going to meet them at the front door. You'd probably
But what I'm saying is, like, I would have gotten stuff from Frug's.
Yeah. That would be perfectly reasonable. It is a business meeting. Let's be civil.
And
I mean,
drinks, of
as
course,
such.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Drinks,
Go ahead.
of course, would be coming through the Silvered Harrier,
And
everything would be getting expensed to build head office.
Well, I mean, yeah. This is a bit. Yeah, this is.
Exactly. This is actually a
So-
business meeting.
Yeah, it is, and you need to just make sure that you document like who is at the meeting, the purpose of the meeting. Is there any mileage associated with it? It's what is it, 5 copper to the mile?
Something like that. Depends on how
So you
travel.
walked it. Yeah, but if you walk
If you've
down the
got to take
steps,
an airship, it's more than 5 copper.
well, yeah, it's only if you're driving. Then you get reimbursed for the airship.
Right, yeah.
But in this case, you're in your own home, so because it's your normal commute, you really can't claim that as your normal commute.
I fucking love this group.
Anyway, so yeah, so you have like a nice little spread, some warm pastry. If I remember correctly, there is a such thing as coffee in Faerun.
I've been playing that there is, so
Yeah.
Then there is.
Yeah.
And in fact,
essentially,
no.
it's
You know
just
what? Yes, there is. In fact, there's a very nice variety that's actually grown in the mountains above Pinedale, because actually there's parts that actually have the climate that is appropriate for a bean that has a very subtle flavor, but very pleasant. Not too bitter.
good.
Not too bitter,
I'm
with
okay
maybe a
with
couple little chocolate and nutty notes, and just a hint of fruit.
this. Corbin approves.
I'm glad you put the thought into this. It makes me happy.
I don't think there was any thought involved in that at all. I think that was strictly like, oh, what's on my cuff? Off.
This portion has been brought to you.
Yeah, you put that shit away. You scumbag.
No, listen. Hey, Starbucks has money.
If you've got a non-alcoholic dwarf in your party, you got to think about alternatives every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably got some and there's probably like a carafe of coffee, freshly brewed there, and Hugon's pouring a little something extra into it.
Not for a business meeting.
No, okay.
No, not
Not
for
to take the
business
edge
meeting.
off.
There is a little bit
Yeah.
something extra, but it's caffeine extract.
Yeah, Hugon gets the double shot red eye wake the F up espresso.
I mean, like his version of coffee is like, this may also be partially dirt. Yeah. Into the pot it goes. I need to wake up. This is not soldier's coffee, so he is probably like, oh, this is pleasant. I'm quite awake.
And so, how does Corbin take his
wait,
coffee?
did you just? I almost took that as a pun off of Folgers when you said soldiers.
Yeah.
This isn't soldiers coffee.
Oh, I love it.
So,
I was not intending to do that.
The best part of waking up is soldiers in your
cleaning
cup.
the gore off your weapon.
Exactly.
Corbin takes his coffee how he takes his women, black and no.
Hot
And
and
sugary?
black.
It's just black and sweet, probably, or just.
Oh, so Beyonce. Okay.
No, I don't. There's no such thing
From
as
the
cream and
Bean
sugar for
There
Hugon.
Cafe.
Just black for Corbin.
I'm having this mental image of the end of the soldiers in your cup advertisement as some drill sergeant starts screaming at people.
Yeah.
It smacks it out.
So it's like,
this is not the time for coffee.
You do not get coffee yet, soldier.
I see it like Hugon cleaning off his blade, and some of it falls into the coffee, and I don't know.
Corbin is currently making a note to start a business plan to start a coffee company.
Oh, for exporting.
Yeah.
The Pinedale coffee exportation.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Fair trade,
I
of course.
I want a Bean There Cafe.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Oh wait, or no, Busy Bean. I like Busy Bean. That would suit me better.
In terms of,
I'm loving that we're now going to start having coffee franchises.
that's fine. I mean,
The Busy Bean Coffee Bar.
we can't.
Jen's gonna invent that.
It'll be a subsidiary of Acquisitions Incorporated Pinedale office.
Yeah, you could probably have a couple different versions of it, right? Depending on where it's going to go. Like it'd all be under the same parent company, but you're going to need different branding if you go to Neverwinter versus,
Jesus.
Candlekeep.
It's gotta be all under the Never Roast.
So anyway, we have this spread set out. Half hour in,
just
we've
do,
decided
like, a
on the
whole
coffee.
episode?
Listen, I love you guys, but god damn it.
Look, guys, this is enough procaffeinating.
Oh God.
This is
We're just
grounds
gonna have
for us
3
to die.
hours.
Ah!
Yeah. 3
What are we,
hours
some
of
kind of
coffee
mug?
fun.
For those who are listening to the podcast, I'm shaking my head just in utter
In utter delight.
defeat. No, defeat.
Don't be bitter.
I'm not.
Okay.
We just need to sweeten it a little.
Oh.
Okay.
What? Back to the
All right,
grind.
listen, we'll come back to this latte. Anyways, so
Too creamy for you?
Does this mean we're getting back to the grind?
Yeah, back. Yeah.
I swear to God, the moment Gid sees me at Unplugged, he's just gonna beat the shit.
I'm not gonna hit you.
He's just gonna hand you a cup of coffee and look at you and say, "I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed."
I'm just disappointed.
That's pretty lukewarm.
Would you could you consider maybe like a cold brew?
or being an enforcer, you could use one of the perks of the job and have me escorted from the building.
Oh, guys, we're mochaing him crazy. I had to stretch that one a little bit.
That's
God.
it's a bit of a stretch. But, yeah.
All right. Time of death, 4:36 p.m. Eastern. The game is done. It is officially off the rails.
Listen, you're responsible for this, you dick.
Just remember, we
This is
love you
not-
a latte.
Look,
This is not our fault, Brian. This is your fault.
Let's let this go and let more puns brew for later.
Okay.
Getting it back on track.
Yes, thank you.
So
Enough about the spread. We can move away from that.
so we have the spread. We've established quite a bit of canon in the last 5 minutes.
Yes.
So that we will have to fully explore at another date.
That's your problem. You're the DM.
No, I'm actually looking forward to it. But anyway, so you have the spread set out. So I guess this would be a case of where Zedram Kai and Stencil and Tomasi come in. And Stencil and Tomasi, when he walks into the room, he's a man who's trying to look confident. You know, he's not unfamiliar with entering into meetings such as this, and you don't think that his size really comes into his mind, but you can see that there's definitely there's some subtle genuflecting that Corbin and Hugon, you guys would be able to notice. Hugon, just because you've typically seen the pecking order like within the military, and you're able to see like when there's subtle signs when someone outranks somebody. And Corbin, sort of the same thing from the monastery. There's it's in many ways the monastery is just as regimented as a military, if to different purpose, but there's usually more subtle signs to say, oh, this monk outranks this monk, and there's a lot of different like little things that play into that. So you can see that he is playing somewhat subordinate to Zedram Kai, who just sweeps into this room, and if there was a way to ooze arrogance, that just
you can almost scrape it off of him.
Exactly. You can take a putty knife, and it's almost like if you were, you know, when you do the thing with old paint and you put the remover on there, you just take the putty knife and just scrape it off. Yeah, but just think about, instead of paint, you're scraping off arrogance off the walls, and that's kind of like how he walks in. Like you now understand what it means when someone owns the room when they walk into it. You can pick up on this, like he feels like he owns this room as he walks in.
He feels like he owns the room, but he's actually just renting it from me.
And you're living rent free.
I'm living rent
right here.
Right up here.
I have pushed officers like him downstairs.
Question though, what is the correct honorific?
Very important. I do want to know this.
Lord Kai.
Would it so I have to say Lord Kai every time I address him, or is there like a Your Majesty or Your Highness or
My Lord?
Yeah.
Your Lordship.
I think it would be like more like a my lord, you know. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like, you know, every time you can't, you know, Lord Kai, Lord Kai, Lord Kai. But it's also, yeah, it's your experience is you know, typical with nobility is that it's Lord Kai, unless they are trying to claim other titles. Your Majesty or Grace would be more like royalty.
I'm using that as an example.
Yeah. The honorific there would be.
I call her Queen Elizabeth every time. I get to call her pointless old woman or person who uses all of our taxes.
I call you easy budget savings.
Anyway.
Anywho.
So as
family.
As they walk in, I will stand. And offer a bow.
Hugon?
Hugon is also on his feet with a polite bow to Lord Kai, and then if Tomasi is not a noble, he's a commoner, right? He's just wealthy.
Yeah, he is a wealthy merchant. So
Okay, so he's non-noble.
yeah.
Probably would. Good morning, sir. Good morning, my lord. We're very pleased to have you both for breakfast and hopefully what will be a productive meeting. We have coffee from the mountain and some.
And as you're saying this, Lord
confections.
Kai just sits, like kind of like sits. It's like he's not even listening. He just sort of sits
That's
down,
fine.
and he sits. He's kind of like laid back. He's got like one arm over the back of the chair, feet kicked out, kind of in front of him under the table. There's an there's an arrogance here where
Right again. And
Suddenly he's reminding me of Bertram.
There is a common thread. He has yet to say anything about having to open a bar, though. So,
yeah, Bertram. But again, Hugon's not really phased by this. I mean, he would probably very quietly be thinking of ways to kill Lord Kai, but he would not. He would absolutely not allow this thing to get under his skin.
You've seen this before.
Absolutely, I've grown up with this.
Oh, yeah.
This is completely normal behavior that I've experienced. Because I mean, Hugon is not noble at all. He's a commoner. And a lot of the military structure in Cormyr is the nobles lead, and the commoners follow.
Yeah, it's not always a meritocracy.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. No, absolutely not. So this is very standard. The familiar disrespect. Tomasi being a halfling and Hugon being like almost 6 feet tall. I don't know if a shaking hand is offensive or polite. Just because I would have to like bend far over down to him. So I will,
Yeah, and is there any way to do that? Is there any way as a fully grown human to like get down and like shake their hand without it being like an adult being like, and how are you today? Don't you look so cute all dressed up?
Yeah, so I will not be engaging in that behavior.
I'll do it, because I'm a dwarf. I'm not that much taller than him.
No, that's true.
Yeah, that'd make it a little bit less awkward.
So again, another polite bow for Mr. Tomasi, and motion to his seat.
Thunic, so when they walk in, what is your reaction here?
Thunic is, before they're walking in, is seriously contemplating. I could just take one of the pastries. Nobody noticed.
I'd have gotten Thunic some.
Well, yeah, but Thunic's always hungry. He wants more.
And the ones on the table are the better ones.
And like
even though they're exactly the same.
There's been a stern point at Thunic like a couple of times. Like
all the pastries and the drink stuff are off on a side table, so you'd actually have to get up from the table to go over to them.
Oh. I get the feeling though that he would have been told that it would have been, since he's trying to be sneaky, that he shouldn't do that too often. So he's like, I had one like 10 minutes ago. I can't go for a little while. And he's like, oh, I have to look at the arrow. I have to look at the arrow, and then I have to do this thing. I have to look at the arrow, then I have to do this thing. And he's like, in his mind, he's just like reminding himself to look at the arrow, and he looks at the arrow, but he doesn't remind himself why he's looking at the arrow. Then he's just like pastries, arrow, pastries, arrow, pastries, arrow, pastries, arrow.
So and so do you just have the arrow sitting on the bar? Is it sitting like in your, like or you're just kind of like secreting it somewhere, like in your clothing?
He's sort of sitting at the bar with his arm on the bar, and he's got the arrow like underneath his arm that he's leaning against. So he's lifting up his arm every so often, or just sort of peeking at it. He's trying to be as sneaky about it as possible, as best as he can think of being sneaky.
Okay. And so
in the way it's positioned, you'd have to basically walk up and look over his shoulder to see it.
And he has a very tall shoulder.
Yeah, and climb up on him and get a ladder and look over.
Yeah.
What you doing? What are we looking at? So the arrow's been like slowly like rotating, like on the bar, like, because it's always oriented towards whoever the shadow archer is. And the sigils have will occasionally like light up a little red and then go back down, so indicating that that whoever this is occasionally entering within that sensible range, that 500-meter range, and then leaving. But it's been sort of like rotating like back and forth, like it's obviously tracking something, but it is not pointing. Actually, where's my map?
It's not pointing at anyone in particular in the room.
No one in the room. It's actually pointing towards the west.
Okay.
Which would be
To the map.
this house.
Needing my map.
Oh, I need the map.
So yes, it's pointing. It's kind of like pointing off towards the west, southwest, and so it's. I mean, again, but it's tracking, as in, you know, someone's moving,
Mhm.
you know, but they're not, you know.
Is the
Yeah.
Silver Terrier number 1 on the map?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 1 is Dren's shop.
Okay,
number
number
2
2.
is the Silvered Harrier. I've just been numbering the stuff.
Sure.
As we go, so you can see the crate and barrel is C and B.
Yep. And where is the compass marker?
It's up in the upper
got it,
left-hand corner.
So, west. Okay, understood.
Right.
Moving forward.
So we'll circle back around to Dren, because we're going to come back around to this meeting. Dren, is there anything that you're doing with now that you see all these people out front? You saw Zedram Kai and Stensland Tomasi enter the Silvered Harrier.
I imagine that like I got all of my stuff ready in the morning. So currently I'm probably just like not very indiscriminately at my front window, just glaring at Mr. Tomato. So,
So there's just like this nose and eyes like over the
yeah,
windowsill.
you just see like this, like Wilson style.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, imagine
So-
that's what I'm currently doing.
Okay. So back to inside the Silvered Harrier. So Zedram Kai plops himself down. Corbin, you introduce yourself to Corbin and Hugon. You introduce yourself to Master Tomasi.
Mhm.
How are we proceeding?
I mean, obviously we want to get them settled, and then introductions have been made, and then it's probably this is Hugon's idea, so he's probably just going to lead off pretty much right away.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts out basically just saying, "This is the situation that I find myself in.
Mm-hmm.
This town of Pinedale is woefully unprepared, and the defense is woefully undertrained. I can do something about that second problem. The preparations are harder. I'm only a single man, and my organization is not omnipotent. What I am coming to you with is a request and an idea for the shipping of semi-finished goods for the creation of armors, weapons, perhaps even fortifications to Pinedale, to be finished here by local craftsmen and artisans, to aid in the readiness of the town guard, which I am going to be supplementing with training."
And Stensland Tomasi says, "So, how is it you see that I fit into this?"
You are the top merchant in Pinedale for imports and exports. I have that on fairly good intelligence. I need somebody who knows what they're doing, who can get the job done quickly, who can get the job done in the most efficient way possible, and who knows how to get the best prices.
He says, well, your agents, they are not incorrect. But I would still need to have a better idea. Why do I need to work with Acquisitions Incorporated? Why can I not just do this on my own? What is the benefit for me to work with you? All I see right now is benefit for you to work with me.
Corbin? Well, no, I'm not done. That's not like a Corbin. Save me. That's a
help.
Corbin.
That's all I got.
Corbin, can you pull up the disclosable financial report for last year's profit for Acquisitions Incorporated? The non-confidential report, please.
For the podcast, Corbin has opened one thing and closed it, and then opened another.
Removed another.
Oh no, the other one.
Some aggressive filing was occurring. It was, and thank you.
One which would get him arrested on insider trading. The other one, publicly available information.
Knowing that this is an important company document and that Corbin is sitting right next to me and how dangerous he is, Hugo will very carefully take this document and lay it on the table and turn it so that they can see it.
Are you concerned that Corbin was going to attack you with paper cuts?
No, that if I were to ruin or damage his documents, that he would be aggrieved.
Note to self: I want to see Corbin attack someone with paper at some point.
It can absolutely happen.
I may or may not have learned a few things at the wrestling event last week that involve the edges of paper and the webbing between people's fingers.
Yeah. No, thank you. I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So, now actually, I'm curious. Like, is the number on there for like total profit losses? Is that like pretty sweet for Acquisitions Incorporated?
Oh yeah, Ag Inc.
It's pretty damn good.
It's a profitable enterprise. Yeah. I mean, you got to figure they've got how many franchises that are out there. You know,
their job is to make money.
The home office is flitting around the world on their own privately owned airship.
Right, exactly. You know? So, and then based on this,
they go through interns like toilet paper. So you know,
taking the end of
you never hear them about them getting sued for it. So you know they've got the money to spend on legal and PR. So yeah, they're a pretty Yeah.
So with the end of a quill that's not dipped in any sort of ink, he'll mark the specific locations of. This was quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and here's our total for the year. Now, as you can see, we are solidly in the black. We do well for ourselves. Our business partners do well as a result of business dealings with us. Now, what you're standing on is an opportunity to become a major shipper to a part of the world that Acquisitions Incorporated is now building a foundation. We have no plans to leave. We're here for the long haul.
Corbin, Thunuk, and Hugon, do a perception check.
Would I as well, or is this a sight?
Yeah. No. This would be. This is visual.
Hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
So where is Rozzy? Is Rozzy kind of like sitting up in the rafters, just kind of like?
Oh yeah, he's vultured up there because he originally he was gonna be hanging out with, but no, the beer incident sealed it. He's mad. He's up in the rafters.
I have a 19.
Okay.
16.
16. Corbin. 23. Okay, so when you said we're not planning on going anywhere, you can see some body language off of
Kai.
Not so much Kai. If there was, it could be that he was his was more just like a shift. There's nothing there's nothing betrayed in his body language to say that this upsets me. you foiled my plans. Nothing like that. There's more like, it could just been that he's been sitting in one position, he's just readjusting. But
No,
with
but Kai's not exactly our #1 fan.
no, but he's also good at keeping that poker face. That's sort of like a thing of nobility, right? You never want to betray your true emotions when you play the game like this. But with Stensel and Tomasi, you could definitely see there is an uncomfortableness when you say that. As to what the cause of that is, you don't know, but just that the thought of Acquisitions Incorporated staying in Pinedale definitely was like kind of and it's not obvious. It's not like he's sitting there like going,
he's not sweating bullets. That was a
yeah,
tell, like
yeah,
a micro expression.
Yeah, it was definitely like, but the three of you are all able to pick up on that you can tell when someone's uncomfortable about something that was said.
So obviously the arrow isn't pointing at anybody in this room.
No.
Okay. So I will look at Tomasi, and because I'm that guy, and if I don't get my 80s reference in, I never will. I'll say, look, you and I and my company are on the threshold of establishing the most indispensable defense science of the next decade. Professional importing and exporting of elimination technologies. The franchise rights alone will make you richer than your wildest dreams.
And Hugon is like, he doesn't. There's a glance of thumbs up, man. That was good.
just for shits and giggles, give me a persuasion check on that. Just for shits and giggles.
I haven't taken my 3rd level in Bard yet, so it's not expertise yet. Persuasion?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. 24.
Nice.
So this goes
gross.
Like, this is like, his eyes go Scrooge McDuck on you. Dollar signs.
Like,
you could almost hear the cash register.
The underside of the table.
Here's wow. No, it's you can almost hear the cash register. Like, if such a thing existed in Faerun, it would be good. You could almost hear it in his head.
Right now, it's abacus speeds sliding.
It's and not only does it fulfill your ASMR fix for the day, but with that, his mentality, you can see that the body language, you don't even need to check on it. His body language changes to being very, very open.
Well, he's all about the money, right? I mean, we knew that. So
yeah. Oh yeah. He's very opportune. You can see that he's an opportunistic guy. There's money. Okay, well, and so he starts to lean in, and as he does that, Zedram Kai finally has something to say, and he says, that's all well and good, but what do I get out of the situation?
I apologize, Lord K. I did not know you were a major board member in Mr. Tomasi's business. You're not listed in his business filings as a partner.
He says, well, Mr. Tomasi and I have an arrangement. I'm one of his major backers. So
then that would be between you and Mr. Tomasi.
Well, yes, but I can also see where this would be a problem, as the importing and exporting would have to go through El Boulder, in which I have several interests there as well, and I would not be able to see this pass through without the appropriate tariffs and oversight.
Well, I'm sure if you were willing to file the paperwork with me, I can make sure that we pay the appropriate taxes.
I have no interest in hamstringing anybody's operations anywhere.
But again, since this is between you and Mr. Mr. Tomasi, God, that voice is killing me. Since this is between you and Mr. Tomasi, that would have to be. Oh, I can't be Corvin with that accent. You'd have to take that up with him. We are not authorized to negotiate on his behalf. My apologies, Mr. Tomasi.
And you can see Stenslin is like he turns to Lord Kai and he says, "No, this is an excellent opportunity. Why? No, we should absolutely. I mean, your lordship. I mean, in your infinite wisdom, you can clearly understand. You can see that this is something we need to do. I mean, we could own the market here. We could corner the market." And Zedram Kai just sort of like very dismissively like waves his hand at him and he says, "To be honest, Master Tomasi does not have the ability to negotiate this. This would have to go through me, unfortunately."
Business. Mr. Tomasi, is this not your company? Were we misinformed? Because I can happily update the records in order to make sure that the right person of contact is made with in future and all the money and bonuses could go through them.
I very calmly will take the last year report from the table, just because it served its purpose, and like hand it back to Corbin. And like now the money is off the table.
Yeah, and you can see he like
that's the goal there. That's the
you can almost see him like going like, oh, you know, like like no, don't take the pretty numbers off the table. And you can see he's like it's a complicated relationship. It's just Lord Kai is.
I'm gonna kind of look at him and go, Mr. Tomasi, let's get a coffee and take him to like the side so I can talk to just him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, you do not need to talk to me about complicated. I work for Omen fucking Dran, right?
Oh no! You can. It's a complicated relationship now with Lord Kai. He is one of my major backers, and if.
But why is it so complicated? Why is he not letting you negotiate for yourself? He's trying to cut you out of this, man. You do this right, you can buy him out. Be your own backer.
Yeah, I could. That is definitely.
Financial freedom, mate.
I don't think you need to give this man more coffee, FYI.
I think he's having some emotional whiplash at the moment, and he's very vulnerable.
Yeah, you can see there's some conflict here.
I might not be banking on that.
You can see there's some internal conflict with him because he's just like,
can I be honest with you, Mr. Tomasi? And I'm guessing that Hugon's keeping Kai talking on the table, right?
Yeah, we're gonna circle back around to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll be like, can I be honest with you, Mr. Tomasi? Just you and I.
Just please, of course, yes.
I spent a lot of time in a monastery, learning things. And one of the things I learned was people. And often you'd see the instructors at the academy take a dislike to a certain student, and those students would have their lives made a hell. You're acting like those students right now. He's acting like one of those instructors. This is not a good relationship for you. You join in with Acquisitions Incorporated? We can give you the funds to be free, not worry about Zephram K.
And he says, "It's."
Right by the town that you live in.
And as you're saying, he's like constantly like glancing back over to Zedram Kai. Like he's like,
I keep saying Zephram. I'm not gonna lie.
no, it's fine. It's fine. And he keeps on, but you can see as you're saying, he's like, it's a very, very interesting proposition. And I would very, very much like to participate. It is.
You should not take control of your own company.
Were it that simple? It's.
Why is it not? Come on, you can tell me. I'm a documenter. I don't give shit.
There's a client privilege here.
If you can't trust your documancer,
I mean,
who can?
I could always document for you if you joined us with Incorporated. You'd have attorney-client privilege. Documenter-client privilege.
I do so very much hate the paperwork. It's.
And I wasn't telling you how to run your business.
We're gonna come back to that in a minute. So, Hugon, what are you doing to keep Lord Kai occupied with this negotiation?
I would like to discuss with, because he mentioned Elbolder specifically and his interests there. I would like to mention to him, like, Lord Kai, you mentioned your Elbolder business dealings. Have you experienced at all the troubles that are going on there? Has it touched your bottom line?
Elbolder is a real estate opportunity, an investment opportunity. So I would say things are, well, it's probably too difficult to explain to you. But things are just fine.
Yeah.
Things are proceeding along an appropriate timetable.
Yes, I imagine the inability to work is making people quite desperate, and perhaps even property values are being driven down by this current issue. Maybe those real estate opportunities are just getting ripe for a clean sweep.
The smirk never leaves his face. He confirms nor denies nothing.
Of course. And in any case, if you are in fact the man that we should be talking to, then let's talk. I'm interested in, as my documancer has mentioned, the importation and the development of elimination technologies and tactics for the city. I need armor. I need weapons. I can handle some of the training. I may need to import experts. Those are expensive. Those are valuable. They can be had. I see a way to not only enrich the people that we're doing business with, but also down the line, I'm seeing potential wealth growth for the entirety of Pinedale, a development of a defense force trained by experts from across the Forgotten Realms, or across the continent. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I apologize. I left.
Very meta.
Yeah, I apologize. That's not what I meant to say.
The what?
The what? What the fuck's the Forgotten Realms?
I don't know.
I don't know. No. Across this continent. At present, you're sitting in front of a military expert, an infantry expert. I can transfer my knowledge to these people and create a fighting force, but I'm only one man. I can only do it so quickly. I sure as hell can't arm them. I can't clothe them in armor, and that's what I need this importation deal for. The artisans here are sufficient for our purposes. We're not making purple dragon knights from Cormyr. We're making effective forest fighters, effective town defenders. People who are going to learn how to defend themselves in a siege, people who are going to learn how to operate in wooded environments. That's a very specific skill set.
Oh, sweet child, you make too many assumptions.
Am I older than Zedram Kai? Is my
You
character
are.
who's like 42?
Yeah, you are. But he still refers to you as child.
That's fine. Again,
and he says, "Oh, sweet child, you make too many assumptions. You assume that this is something that I want. You assume that these peasants are even capable of defending themselves. You assume that it's in my best interest to have them have this available to them. And you assume that I can't do this all on my own without ceding a single copper to Ominifus Hereward Dran. So I see no reason for myself nor Master Tomasi to be at all involved in this. Thonik, the arrow starts to turn yellow. The runes on the arrow start to turn yellow. Corbin, so he's...
May I ask real quick, we never went over what the colors mean?
Green, yellow, or excuse me, red, yellow, green.
The farthest away is red. As it comes closer,
so
yellow.
as they come closer, it turns more green.
Yeah, exactly. Red. Okay. Yeah, red is like it's at the very edge of the realm, at the edge of the range of its detection. Green is, is
still pointing west?
Is game over, man. Game over.
That's meta. Sorry.
No, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's still roughly pointed towards the direction of Tomasi's house.
Well, no, it's moving. It's moving in a way that says this person is probably moving not in Tomasi's house anymore.
Okay, so but I mean, like, his house is southwest, so
and this is more. Yeah, this is more west.
This is more west.
Yeah, more. It's closer to being direct west.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it has the runes on it, or the sigils have started to turn yellow, indicating that the person, whoever this person is getting closer. So Corbin, so Tomasi he continues to stammer through, like and all he can really say is that it's complicated. It's complicated. As he's saying that, he's looking. He keeps on kind of looking out of the corner of his eye over towards Zedram Kai.
All right, so
and do another perception check.
Perception or insight?
Insight.
All right. Ooh, not quite as good.
This one's only a 30.
No, last one was 24. This one's a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. So you are picking up on fear. You're picking up on a very personal and familiar fear.
Yeah. Why are you so afraid of him?
And with that, he just kind of retreats in.
No, like this isn't a question, a friendly question. This is just Corbin looking at him and quite plainly just stating.
No, I know, but when you say that, his reaction is almost like it's almost like a shut up.
Did you get bullied at school?
And he's just looking into his cup of coffee.
I'm taking that as a yes. Just knowing that I'm pretty good with people and stuff like that. Did you never want to get rid of your bullies?
And he kind of gives like a sidelong glance.
Help us get rid of a bully.
And he
Take back control.
barely audibly, he just says, I can't. And again, it's just sort of like this. You can see that the liquid in the cup is like trembling.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's subtle. It's not like he's not full on.
Yeah.
You know, but it's you can see this is.
So he's gonna be like, did he threaten you? Does he have someone of your family?
His knuckles turn whiter.
He's threatening your family.
And there's the absolute most subtle of nods. You're like getting to his like operating system right now. So it's kind of like
yeah.
You're in the machine code for Mr. Tomasi.
Oh, I thought Bob froze for a second there because he was sitting very, very still.
So there is a quite audible sort of.
Oh, jeez.
Did I hear that?
Yeah, it's very audible.
That's a kind of like
dwarven knuckles. I mean, it's probably like someone
like
throwing rocks at.
That's a very serious shotgun rack sound. Hugon will very, very quietly fold his hands and like basically just do this as he like looks pointedly not at Corbin and straight at Zedran Kai and just say,
at which point Corbin will look back at Tomasi and say, is it him or one of his minions threatening people?
And he
or is it all of them?
And it gives him again a really very subtle knob. Thunic, you see that the arrow sigils are starting to turn green. They're like in that yellow green transition.
So I will turn. I'll wink at him and I'll go. And now at full volume, you are a hard negotiator, Mr. Tomasi. I've tried to be subtle and ask you nicely and stuff. And with like a few danishes and some like piping hot coffee, cross back over to the table.
And when you say that, you can see a little bit of relief. Again, like in the shoulders, when you started cracking your knuckles, you can almost see like the tension build.
I'd like to point out he didn't actively do this. That was just from him.
No, I know. But when he hears that, right? Because everyone heard it.
Yeah.
You can see like this tension kind of build up in his shoulders. But then when you say what you say and head back towards your chair, you can see it kind of relax, a little bit. It's like he was,
As the arrow has turned green and Thunuk sees Corbin over by the pastries, or as he sees them leave the pastries, Corbin's like, Thunuk's like, maybe I can have a pastry now. And he's like, arrow, I should tell someone about this arrow. So he both stands up and walks towards the pastries. And trying to figure out how would he do this.
Well, if I see Thunuk approaching, I'd be like, "Excuse me for a moment, gentlemen. I need to consult with my colleague," and I'll walk over to Thunuk. Especially
And
since I'm in the
you could see
process.
Tomasi like did not notice him. He was like full on. Well, no, he was full on focused on the meeting, and then Corbin and Thunuk is able to be very quiet when he's not moving.
And not.
It's not like and not and not eating. And you could see it's just one of those looking up and up.
Like he thought it was part of the building, and it's like no, the building is moving.
He thought that was a load-bearing fear bulb.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
In all fairness, it is. That's what he is when he was covering Dren.
Warmount Fearbog.
Speaking of which, what's Dren up to?
She's been going through like a whole. She's still just like staring from across the way, but listening like all the stuff that's coming through on Rousey's end, either going through like severe eye rolls or just like like making all these kinds of faces. You can't see the faces, but you can kind of see like the eye expressions through the window. Like
and like occasionally a tiny middle finger.
Yeah.
I get the feeling whoever's closest to the window is hearing like a very subtle me.
And as you're watching out the window, you do see another person walk up to the men in plate and have a conversation with them. This one is wearing like a hooded cloak, but the hood is down. Very loose fitting clothing, like loose tunic, by human standards, he could be passed for a very handsome man. Kind of sun bleached hair, like he's like got brown hair that's been bleached in the sun, and kind of like it looks like that bedhead that some people can just wake up with and it looks awesome, and other people spend a lot of time trying to get it to look that way.
Yeah, I have such a problem.
I know,
other people
right?
just shave their heads so they don't have to deal with hair issues.
Fuck
so
hair.
You don't even have to deal with it. So just the hint of a beard, and you see him. He starts walking up. He's talking with the two men in plate armor. So back inside, Corbin, you've gone over to Thunuk.
Does the arrow react to this new person?
It's more that it's just the rangefinder on it is indicating that whoever this is very close, and now it's actually pointing closer to the door. It's actually starting to it's been moving, tracking whoever this is, but now it's moving towards the door.
But it's not pointing at this new person.
The new person's
well, you wouldn't know. They're outside. Oh,
I'm sorry. Yes, never mind. My brain went haywire there for a second.
Yeah, Thunuk.
Hey, now my bloodstream is full of ant toxins.
Flashbacks to
so, Corbin, Thunuk's gonna rather pointedly, because he thinks he's being sneaky about this, he's gonna loudly ask, "Are there any cinnamon rolls left?" And he's like pointing at the arrow under that he's got on like holding like so. He's like,
just hand him a cinnamon. And I'll look at the
he's not doing this because he's huge, but yeah, but camera.
Yeah.
I'll look at the arrow. Now, you never described how these wrist things work. Can it be person-to-person communication, or does it have to be between the four of us?
There's a setting on there where you can like twist it, and you can feel it like when it kind of locks into the right place. And you can see inscribed along the edge of it are, there's a rune, a lamp, a clover, and a halberd looking type thing. So you could do, there's all those settings, and there's also like a mute setting where you can actually just turn it off. So that way, you couldn't accidentally get communicated. You're in the middle of like sneaking in on something,
Or you're in
and
the
all of a sudden Thunna calls you.
Why are you calling me?
Hey,
Corbin!
have you seen any of the Last Stones Day?
Left.
30 cinnamon
All right, so I'm gonna whisper to Thunnock. Head outside and find out who it is.
Okie
Take a cinnamon roll for a walk. And I'm gonna continue past him, like back towards the kitchen area. Flick the rune round to the lamp. So that I'm alone basically, and I'll hit the button and I'll be like, Glenn, you there?
Just gonna look around because last time it got thrown across the thing, so she'll probably like pop down. Where's Gordon? Gordon's supposed to be. Oh yeah. She'll go back and find it.
Oh yeah, the fidelity on this is amazing.
Is this speakerphone, by the way?
Glenn.
Are these things on speakerphone?
No.
No.
I've clicked it round so it's just between me and Dren.
Right. No, I mean in general, like, is this thing that like reception? Is it speakerphone or is it like?
We don't hear it mentally
because we have to hear.
Yeah.
Sound emanates from it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not like speakerphone where you're only getting the mids. You get the full. This is like the Bose version.
Beats by Dran. Dren?
Yeah.
Have you been keeping tabs on anything in here?
I've heard all the bullshit so far.
Big man's coming outside. The arrow's pointing at someone close by, so keep an eye on him.
Ooh. We've had a new person that walked up.
Right, study him. Like, remember what they look like and stuff.
Yeah. She immediately thinks, how am I going to take him apart?
Yeah, I instantly was like, I don't mean take him apart.
Damn. Okay.
Though
We need to be specific with Dren.
Though honestly, if that's your kink, I'm not gonna shame. Like.
Okay.
And she's excited and confused.
Go in like the contemplation between both. Like, well, maybe. We'll think about it. Workshop that.
If I need to understand and study someone, isn't the best way to learn about something to take it apart?
I might be able to put it back together, but no guarantees.
And I'm going to say, I got to go back to the meeting. If you need us, get Vrazi to get our attention.
I can see that.
Okay.
Is this going to be our...
This is totally our watch comm.
I would like to point out that when Brian gave us
Tracy, watch.
When Brian gave us these, the Knight Rider marathon was on Twitch. So David Hasselhoff will be talking into his wrist, and I was like, "There we go."
See, I was going older school, thinking Dick Tracy
like
Radio Watch.
Kind of.
Oh well, yeah, that could go that way too.
But
no, that's more.
Yeah, because you got to. But I was thinking like the link that the Babylon 5 guys have on the back of their hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can't.
We gotta design that at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you go back out to the meeting area, and Thunnock, are you walking outside?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take my. I have no idea how large this cinnamon roll is, but I'm going to take it for a walk.
Well, for a normal person, this would be this would be like a normal size cinnamon roll, but for you, it's kind of like the cereal version.
It's fun sized.
If you remember that cereal, was that cinnamon swirl cereal that was like looked like cinnamon buns, but you know?
Yeah, it was cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yep.
think it was.
So you walk out and
it's like bite-sized cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Cinnabites.
Yeah. So you walk outside, and outside they have the alfresco tables and everything, and you see the group that I described earlier, the two female humans, the two males, the two men who are in full plate with this spiky kind of shreddery type armor.
Mhm.
That looks like they would not be fun to hug.
Oh.
You see them, and you see the and you see this other male who's like in this hooded cloak, this brown hooded cloak. Again, by human standards, could be considered to be quite handsome. By Fearbulk standards, not so much. Ears too small, nose too small, wrong proportions in the face.
Very pink, most likely,
Generally,
or human
very,
colors.
very mushy.
Yeah.
Does not smell like the outside.
Nothing earth tone like grays or greens going on.
Not in the complexion, no. And there's some earth tone like in the clothing, but it's more of it's more of a fashion statement. It's not. It's too forced. It's too forced. It's not. They're trying too hard. Would stand out in a Fearbulk settlement.
Okay.
And so, but as you walk out, the two men in plate look at you. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh. Okay. Wow, this is a piece of crap die. 10.
You feel the icy fingers of overwhelming dread seep into your heart, and you feel compelled to take a step back. And with that, we are going to take our break.
Clark.
So, for the folks watching us at home, we will be back in just about 5 minutes to play some more Dungeons and Dragons and discuss further coffee franchising opportunities. For the folks on the podcast, thank you for listening to part 1. Part 2 is forthcoming. You can find us on your favorite streaming service, including Google Podcasts and iTunes. So,
Shit!
Nice.
So with that, we are going to take a brief break, make a full use and tour of our local facilities, and come back and give you a full status report. So, see you in 5.
Deep within the core, other forests can be heard, and hear a spirit song sealed from long before. Now awaken to devour the essence of our soul.